Hello, my name's Dr. James Lloyd-Jones, and one of my areas of research is ancient Sparta. Since this year's Heritage Open Days theme is food, I'll be showing you how to cook some Spartan-inspired dishes. The Your Museum has a great collection of objects excavated from ancient Sparta, like this large wine-mixing vessel called a crater. I still find it rather amazing to think that over 2,500 years ago, it's possible that a group of Spartans served out cups and mugs of wine from this very vessel. But before we delve into the cooking, who were the Spartans? And why did food matter so much to them? The ancient Spartans lived in the region of Laconia in the Greek Peloponnese. One of the unique things about the Spartans' laws was that the production of food was a vital part of maintaining Spartan citizenship. Only men were citizens in Sparta. Unlike most Greek cities, the Spartan citizens dined in mess groups, syssitia. Being part of a syssitia went hand in hand with being a citizen. To maintain the membership of a mess group, a Spartan citizen needed to contribute a certain amount of food to each dinner. If they couldn't contribute enough food to their mess hall, then they would lose their citizenship. A later writer tells us the sorts of things that a Spartan citizen was required to contribute to their messes. About 2.5 litres of barley flour, 1.25 litres of wine, in addition to smaller amounts of cheese, figs, and some money for extras, like meat or fish. With food being such a key element of Spartan society, you'd think that the citizens would have grown it themselves. In Sparta, it was the opposite. A group of people called the Helots, enslaved after a war with the Spartans, worked the land, giving half of their produce to the Spartans. The 7th century BCE poet Tyrtaeus writes that the Helots were like asses worn out by heavy burdens, bringing to their masters out of grievous necessity half of all the produce that the land brings forth. A Spartan's experience with food would have been greatly different to that of a Helot's. Since food was such an important part of Spartan citizenship, it is perhaps no surprise that various ancient Greek and Roman authors were interested in what the Spartans ate. While no recipes per se survive, there is a short fragment of a poem by the Spartan poet Alcman that mentions some dishes, which are then further explained by a later Spartan writer. I am using this passage as the basis for the dishes that I will cook. Porridge is mentioned by Alcman in these words: "Soon he will provide seed porridge, and white frumenty, and the waxen harvest." Puanion, according to Sosibius, is mixed seeds boiled in raisin syrup. Kidron is boiled wheat grains. By waxen harvest, he means honey. What I'm going to be doing today is trying to replicate this seed mix boiled in raisin syrup, the boiled wheat grains, and in tribute to the contribution of barley flour, I'll also be doing a simple barley bread. Since you can't smell and taste what I'm cooking up here, I've added some instructions if you want to give this a go at home, and I also focused on allowing you to hear and see what this food looks like as it's being prepared and cooked. Let's get cooking. Okay, so now that this raisin syrup mixture has cooled down a bit, the next step is to strain it through a cheesecloth, which I have set up in this little pot. Okay, so make sure to give it a good squeeze so that you can get all of the liquid out of these nice, plump, juicy, sugary raisins. Okay, now we've got our nice sweet raisin syrup strained out. We can return to the seeds that we prepared earlier. So this is a mix of golden linseeds, which you'll sometimes see marketed as flax seeds, poppy seeds, and also sesame seeds. So these are three seeds that we know were commonly used in a lot of Spartan dishes, often also quite a lot of sweet Spartan dishes, so it makes sense to add all of these. So we'll put the heat on. So after about 20 minutes on a low simmer, this is how the syrup mixture goes. It becomes really thick and glossy and incredibly hot. So leave that to cool and we'll inspect on this little dish very shortly. So this is the mixture of seeds with the raisin syrup, and this is what Alcman calls the puanion polton, or the puanios poltos. And here we have something that at least approximates a Spartan meal. We have a little sweet dish, which is seeds boiled in raisin syrup. We have something in between a savoury and a sweet dish. We have our boiled grains, boiled in milk. I've done them with rye. A more authentic version of doing this would be with wheat grains, or perhaps possibly barley grains, which brings us on to this nice, hearty, chunky, stodgy, thick kind of barley bread. Barley being one of the key grains in Sparta. Enjoy!